does it feel to have been vulnerable like that in a room of 24,000 people and I don't know how many millions of people watching at home?
It feels human, I think. I think being an athlete, people kind of disregard that side of us, the human side of things. And, people say so many things like, number 3 in the world and you're doing this or you're playing like this and you should be better and things like that. But like at the end of the day, like I feel like I've already, if I stopped and didn't pick up a racket tomorrow, I've have a career that so many people would dream of. But I think I just showed people what it's like to be a human, and I have bad days, but I think it's more about how you get up after those bad moments and how you show up after that. And I think today I showed that I can get up after feeling the worst I've ever felt on the court.
An ABC anchor just learned the hardest lesson of his career. Coco Gauff heard what he said about her during a commercial break, and she's not letting it slide. The leaked audio went viral instantly, and now legal papers are flying. What started as a casual comment turned into a career-ending mistake that nobody saw coming. Should celebrities sue every time someone disrespects them, or is Coco taking this too far? Let me know what you think in the comments right now. Ethan Price thought the microphone was off. That's always how these stories start, right? Some media personality thinks they're having a private conversation, says something they shouldn't, and then boom, the internet gets hold of it and their whole life implodes. Ethan had been with ABC for almost 20 years. Trusted face, respected voice, the kind of anchor who could cover serious news without making it feel heavy. But on a random Tuesday morning, during a commercial break on ABC's World Morning Now, Ethan made a comment that would destroy everything he'd built. He was talking to his co-host, laughing about something, and then he said it. The words that would cost him his job, his reputation, and possibly a whole lot of money in a lawsuit. For someone so young, Coco sure acts like she's saving the world. It's just tennis, not a revolution. The clip was 37 seconds long, grainy audio, clearly recorded off someone's phone or pulled from a raw feed. But it was clear enough. Crystal clear. And within an hour of hitting Reddit, it had been shared 12 million times. Twitter exploded. Instagram comment sections turned into war zones. Everyone had an opinion, and most of those opinions were not kind to Ethan. Because here's the thing, you can't say that about Coco Gauff in 2025 and expect people to just laugh it off. Coco isn't just a tennis player, she's become a symbol, a voice for a generation, a young black woman who uses her platform to speak on issues that matter. Saying it's just tennis isn't just dismissive, it's disrespectful to everything she represents.
Matt.
Well done, Coco.
Thanks.
After everything that happened on Thursday night, did you wake up feeling a little differently yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I just realized that I don't want that moment to happen again, like on court for sure. And yeah, I'm not someone who I don't want to show I guess weakness in moments, but after the match I was thinking maybe it's not a weakness, it's just showing the things that happen in my head and not keeping it inside to the point where I can't play. But I felt with a new perspective, seeing how the support I've gotten since that moment, just seeing how proud of people are of me regardless of how I do here. So today I felt a lot lighter going on court. And I hope to continue feeling that lightweight for the rest of the time here.
The backlash was immediate and brutal. Athletes from every sport started weighing in. LeBron James tweeted support for Coco. Serena Williams posted a story with fire emojis and Coco's face. Even people who don't follow tennis were posting about it because the issue was bigger than sports. This was about respect, about how young women, especially young black women, get treated when they dare to have opinions beyond their profession.
What are your thoughts about that overall?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be positive. I mean, after the match, I definitely was struggling in the locker room. I don't like losing, and yeah, I think for me the main thing, I'm sure my team and everyone's gonna tell me you did well at Roland Garros. So I'm
ABC tried to get ahead of it. By Wednesday afternoon, they'd suspended Ethan pending an internal investigation. The network released some corporate statement about professionalism and inclusivity. Standard damage control. But everyone knew what that meant. Ethan was done. You don't come back from something like this, especially not in today's climate where one viral clip can end a decades-long career. Ethan's social media went dark immediately. His Twitter account, which had been active daily for years, suddenly stopped posting. His Instagram disappeared. Even his LinkedIn got scrubbed of anything that might attract more attention. He went into full hiding mode, probably on advice from lawyers and PR people scrambling to contain the disaster. But Coco stayed quiet, and that silence was deafening. She was in Shanghai at the time, preparing for a tournament. Her phone was blowing up, agents calling, PR team freaking out, family checking in. The whole world was talking about her, defending her, using her name in hashtags and think pieces, and she said nothing. Not a tweet, not a statement, not even a cryptic Instagram story. Her coach found her sitting by the hotel window with headphones in, just staring out at the city. He asked if she was okay, if she wanted to respond. Coco looked at her phone, at the millions of mentions and messages, and smiled. Not yet. The court will be my reply. That's cold-blooded champion mentality right there. While everyone else was losing their minds online, Coco was focused on what she does best, playing tennis. And boy, did she make a statement. The next evening, she walked onto the court in Wuhan for her semi-final match. The crowd was electric. Cameras were locked on her face, looking for any sign of emotion or distraction. Commentators were trying to balance talking about tennis with acknowledging the elephant in the room. Everyone was watching to see how she'd handle the pressure. She destroyed her opponent, absolutely demolished her. 6-2, 6-3 in 78 minutes. Every shot was pure aggression. Every serve had extra heat on it. She wasn't just winning points, she was making a statement with every swing of the racket. The crowd started chanting her name. Even her opponent was clapping after some of Coco's shots because they were just that good. That match became iconic. Not because of the score, but because of what it represented. Coco could have crumbled under the pressure. She could have let Ethan's comments get in her head and affect her performance. Instead, she channeled everything into her game and came out stronger. That's the difference between good athletes and great ones. But the story didn't end there. Because while Coco was winning matches and taking the high road, her legal team was quietly building a case. See, what most people don't understand is that comments like Ethan's aren't just offensive. They can be legally actionable, especially when they come from someone with a platform as big as a national news anchor. Defamation, disparagement, creating a hostile public environment. Coco's lawyers had options, and they started exploring all of them. Because this wasn't just about one comment. This was about the pattern of how young black female athletes get treated differently, how their accomplishments get minimized, how they're told to just play sports and stop having opinions. The lawsuit, when it was filed, wasn't asking for a specific dollar amount. It was asking for accountability, for public acknowledgement of harm, for ABC and Ethan Price to take real responsibility instead of just issuing corporate apologies and waiting for the news cycle to move on. And that's what made this different from other celebrity controversies. Coco wasn't just canceling someone on Twitter and moving on. She was using the legal system to make a point, to set a precedent, to show that words have consequences, especially when those words come from people with power and influence. ABC was in a terrible position. They'd already suspended Ethan, which was basically an admission that he'd screwed up. But now they were facing a lawsuit from one of the most popular athletes in the world. A lawsuit that had public support. A lawsuit that sponsors were watching closely. A lawsuit that could cost them millions, not just in settlement money, but in lost advertising revenue and damaged reputation. Ethan Price's career was already over. That was clear within days of the clip leaking. But now his financial future was in jeopardy too. Depending on how ABC handled the lawsuit, they might try to throw him under the bus completely to protect the network. He could end up personally liable for damages. His pension could be at risk. Everything he'd built over 20 years could disappear because of 37 seconds of audio. The irony is that Ethan probably didn't even think what he said was that bad. He was making a casual comment to a colleague during a commercial break. Just guys being dismissive about a young woman who dares to have opinions. Locker room talk, basically. He probably says stuff like that all the time and never faces consequences because nobody's recording. But that's exactly the problem. The casual sexism, the automatic dismissiveness toward young women, especially young black women who step outside the narrow box society wants to put them in. Ethan's comment wasn't an isolated incident. It was a symptom of a much bigger issue in media and sports coverage. Coco has dealt with this her entire career, being told she's too young to have opinions, being questioned about her activism and told to focus on tennis, being compared unfavorably to other players, being held to different standards than male athletes who use their platforms for social causes. She's been patient, she's been gracious, but apparently, Ethan's comment was the line. And honestly, good for her. Athletes don't have to just accept disrespect because it comes from media personalities with big platforms. The old model where sports figures had to smile and take whatever commentators dished out as dead. This generation of athletes has lawyers, agents, and their own social media platforms. They can fight back, and they should. The public response to the lawsuit was overwhelmingly positive. Most people saw it as Coco standing up not just for herself, but for every young woman who's been dismissed or belittled for trying to make a difference. The hashtag that had started after the clip leaked, #StandWithCoco, got even bigger once legal action was announced. Sponsors loved it too. Coco's existing deals got renewed with bigger numbers. New companies started reaching out wanting to partner with her. Because brands understand that consumers, especially younger consumers, want to support people who stand for something. Coco taking legal action showed she wasn't just about performative activism. She was willing to put real stakes behind her principles. Meanwhile, Ethan Price was reportedly scrambling to find representation. His original lawyers apparently told him to settle immediately and apologize profusely. But settling would be an admission of guilt that could affect his ability to work in media ever again. Not settling meant dragging this out in court, keeping it in the news cycle, and potentially losing even more money and reputation. There were no good options for him. That's what happens when you disrespect someone who has the resources and the public support to actually hold you accountable. In the old days, Ethan could have issued an apology, done some diversity training, and been back on air in a few months. But this is a different era. One viral clip can follow you forever. The lawsuit also raised interesting questions about what happens when someone's off-air comments become public. Does the network bear responsibility for their employees' behavior, even during commercial breaks? Can anchors be held accountable for comments they made thinking they were private? Where's the line between free speech and professional consequences? Legal experts were divided. Some said Coco had a strong case because Ethan's comments, even if made off-air, reflected on ABC and could be considered part of his professional conduct. Others argued that punishing someone for comments they didn't intend to be public was a slippery slope. But most agreed that regardless of the legal merits, Ethan had destroyed his own career through his own carelessness. The fact that this all happened in 2025 matters too. This isn't the world of 10 years ago where media figures could say whatever they wanted with minimal consequences. The culture has shifted. Young people, who make up a huge portion of Coco's fan base, don't tolerate disrespect toward women and minorities the way previous generations did. They're loud, they're organized, and they know how to use social media to create real pressure. ABC executives had to be thinking about all of this as they decided how to respond to the lawsuit. Settling quickly might minimize financial damage but would look like they're admitting fault. Fighting it in court would drag their network through months of negative press coverage. Either way, they lose. That's what happens when your employee says something indefensible that gets caught on tape. A year after the initial incident, Coco was invited to speak at the United Nations Youth Forum. She talked about athletes and social responsibility, about how nothing is just anything when people are watching, about how young girls learn what's possible by seeing people like her refuse to be dismissed or diminished. She said she didn't want to be remembered just for wins and losses. She wanted to be remembered for what she stood for, even when it was uncomfortable. The room gave her a standing ovation. Diplomats and activists were on their feet clapping. And in that moment, it was clear that Ethan Price's dismissive comment had backfired spectacularly, because instead of diminishing Coco, it had elevated her. It had given her a platform to talk about issues bigger than tennis. It had shown the world that she wouldn't accept disrespect quietly. And it had made her even more popular and influential than she was before. Ethan Price learned the expensive way that you can't disrespect Coco Gauff and expect no consequences. One comment cost him everything, and Coco's lawsuit is making sure he remembers it. If this story shocked you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on athletes who refuse to stay silent. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.